Mine's a lot of running, thanks.
Bye.
Tomorrow from 9:30 on Channel 4.
This week on Summer Getaways, walking in Brittany, horse riding in Kent, learning to paint in Cornwall, the delights of Lisbon and the backwoods of Bulgaria. Hello again. I think there's no better way of getting to know a landscape than by walking through it. And the Crozon Peninsula of Brittany is worth knowing about. What's more, this is the kind of hiking holiday you can enjoy without being a serious backpacker. It may not look like the beginning of a walking holiday, but this is how you reach a starting point. Catch a train to Brest, then board the ferry that crosses the Brest Channel to land you in this off-the-track corner of Finistère. Just 3 boats a day deliver foot passengers, supplies, and rather a lot of bicycles to the tiny fishing port of Le Fret. You're not with an organised group. In fact, you're hardly organised at all. That's one of the attractions of this holiday. But your route is already worked out for you, and your accommodation's booked in advance, with the first night here in Le Fret at a comfortable 3-star logis hotel. I'll hit the trail in the morning. Now for some serious walking. First, an apple for the road. I don't think they'll have Kendal mint cake. You need to be able to read a map and be reasonably fit, but you don't have to carry a backpack. Big plus, your bags are taken from place to place for you. Past the standing stones at La Jaja and along the old customs path. Fairly easy going. Trainers are adequate in good weather. It's a lovely cliff walk. I must say it's marvellous to be able to travel so light. The forecast today is for a heat wave, so I haven't even needed to bring a sweater or a raincoat. I've got all my bits and bobs in here, including a Swiss Army knife, a torch and a compass, and I've got my map pack. Now this is what they give you, with each day's route clearly marked out in pink. They also give you little bits of advice like paths to avoid when wet or very steep descent, go carefully. And of course you've got your hotels as well. Well, I've got a long way to go, so I think I'd better get weaving. They call these rocks the tasse de pois, which in Breton means a pile of peas. Well, on the map they might be peas, but in close-up they're like the scaly back of some slumbering dinosaur. Around the headland, a marvellous bay at Camaret. Of course, with a preset route to follow, you haven't much time for beachcombing. You want to hit all the points of interest. The Crozon Peninsula has some wonderful old Celtic churches, and I had the luck to bump into Getaways Le Fur, who's an expert on things Breton.
This part of Brittany is called Cornwall, which is the same like Cornwall in England. It means, the reason is that Bretons came from the Isle of Britain between the 5th and the 8th century, and we share many legends in common, many place names, many surnames, and the language of Brittany is a Celtic language, like the language of Wales and the original Cornish language too.
Finistère has so many lovely churches. What is special about this one?
We are in Sainte Marie du Menethome. It's a church from the 17th century, but its history goes back in the past to the Dark Ages, because it's supposed to have been created by King Mark from Cornwall, who came here and he built a chapel for the Holy Virgin before finishing his life on the hill just behind us, which is Minne's home.
And I'm going to walk up that.
Oh yes, it's a nice walk, yes.
A mere hiccup on the landscape, no sweat. At noon, time for a break. The villagers here are used to hikers, plenty of snacks on offer rather than heavy lunches. This route is very well waymarked. You just look for the usual red and white stripes. The GR, if you've never walked in France before, stands for Grande Randonnée. That's the circuit we're going on. I'm on 34 and I go that way now. It's rather like a treasure hunt. They give you goals to reach. The ruined Abbey of Landévennec, for example, one of the first Breton monasteries. And a holy well with healing waters. It turns out to be right in the middle of a field and almost dry. Well, I was all for trying some. It's supposed to be a cure for migraine, but as it's all covered in weed and about 2 inches deep, I think I might end up suffering from something else. The waves lapping the shore at Pentrez are a welcome sight at sundown. 15 miles a day average is to me a lot of walking, and what could be more soothing than salt water for hot feet? Well, I tell you something about this walking, it doesn't half give you an appetite. You know, seafood is really good value in Finisterre. I'm having the 98 franc menu, and that's about £12.50. I've had 6 oysters, very good they were too, and now I'm going to have some cod. A typical Breton meal. J'ai bien mangé, madame.
Bon appétit, madame.
Oh, c'est très bon. And if you fancy a walking break with Sherpa expeditions, it's from £445 per person for a 6-night self-guided walk, including ferry crossing, half-board accommodation, baggage transport, route notes and maps. With Ramblers Holidays, it's from £448 per person for 1 week, half-board accommodation at a centre in the French Pyrenees and daily guided walks, and it includes return flights too. With in-travel, it's from £329 per person for a 6-night self-guided walk in the Vercors region of France. It includes ferry and Le Shuttle crossing and baggage transportation. Don't forget, there are more details on the Summer Getaways fact sheet. The address to write to is at the end of the programme. Now we take to the saddle. Even if you've never tried horse riding before, there are plenty of stables around the south which offer lessons for all ages. Here's Adrian Mills.
Whether you're a seasoned rider or, like me, have no experiences of horses whatsoever, Oat Hill Farm in the Kent Downs offers a wide range of holidays for adults, families and children on their own. And I think we're off. So while everyone else mounted up for their morning's ride, it was time to meet my horse. Of course, they could have had something smaller for me. Hi there.
This is your horse?
I knew you were going to say that. The horse is enormous. I've never really been on a horse before.
He's quite a gentleman, really.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's he called?
His name's Tom.
Tom. Well, it was reassuring to know that all the instructors here are fully qualified, and the lesson started with an explanation of basic safety procedure. For anybody who hasn't been on a horse before, I mean, it is actually quite a weird sensation as it rolls from side to side as he walks. So for people here on a week's holiday, how much riding is actually involved?
Well, a fair bit. We have you working all day. We don't give you any rest. You'd get up, you'd have an hour's lesson, maybe 2 hours lessons in the morning, a nice long hack in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's normally, I find, the people that haven't ridden before enjoy it more. You know, they come along and they think, oh, well, yes, and then they go away feeling they've achieved something.
After a few hours' practice, I was confident enough to go on my first organised ride. Actually, the pub where we stopped for lunch was only 10 minutes away, but it felt like a good start. So what's the attraction of a holiday like this?
It's just wonderful. It's the best atmosphere you could hope for. The horses are brilliant, the people are fantastic, the surroundings are just gorgeous. You wouldn't believe you were only an hour away from London.
There are 2,000 idyllic acres of forest and downs surrounding the farm, which provide avenues and glades to ride in, for all standards, even me. As to accommodation, you can stay in either local B&Bs or in the farm itself, where the rooms are basic but comfortable after a hard day in the saddle. But not everyone comes for a quiet ride through the woods. At the end of every week, all the pupils take part in a gymkhana. It's a good excuse to show off some of the skills that you've learned, and it's also a lot of fun. And don't worry, everybody gets a rosette. I was watching you in the gymkhana. How did you get on?
Well, I sometimes get first, sometimes get second, and sometimes came last.
No. How did you feel when you came last?
I was happy though.
It just goes to show it's the taking part that counts.
And first, elephant. And here I have a very special rosette for our best future riding prospect of the day. And that's to Adrian.
Oh, thank you. You knew it, did you? I thought you might. Well, I've had an absolutely terrific time, and it just goes to prove that you're never too old or young to learn to ride, are you?
Many places offer riding holidays, including Oat Hill Farm Riding Centre, where 7 nights full board and 14 hours riding with instructors starts at £280 for adults. At Limes Farm Holiday Centre, it's from £235 for 7 nights, including full board and riding instruction. And Cobham Manor Riding Centre offer 5 days full board and riding instruction from £325 per person. And back after the break with Linda Ward learning to paint in Cornwall and reports from Lisbon and Bulgaria.
There's a conditioner that restores even damaged hair instantly. Organics conditioner with Glucosil restores your hair's natural shine.
Walker's new barbecue-flavoured crisps are so irresistible, the world can suddenly seem a daunting place. Walker's barbecue crisps. Best make sure they're in safekeeping.
James Galway, Classical Meditations. Over 2 hours of peace and tranquility on one superb double album.
Morning.
Morning, Dad.
Oh, yeah. I must sort out that loan. But I can't get to the bank.
Hello! There's a new convenient way to get an unsecured personal loan. Call Lombard Direct, free on 0800 215,000. 24 hours a day. We have loans from £800 to £15,000 for almost anything, and our rates are low. One call to Lombard Direct, and you're laughing. To arrange a loan or for more information, call free on 0800 215,000.
Ugh. Hey, I thought you wanted a nice hot bath.
The only thing I'll be scrubbing tonight are those stains.
Leave it to me, love. You go and play with your rubber duck. When the last thing you want to do is mess around with tough stains, you need Flash XL. It makes even stubborn marks a walkover. Easy.
Oh, fantastic. You scrubbed everywhere. Except my back.
Flash XL does the hard work, so you don't have to.
Have you taken up the Churnton Challenge yet? Mild or new mature, the cheesemakers are confident that after one taste, you'll turn to Churnton.
Now available, Wallace Arnold direct coach brakes with no change of coach. Travel direct from all these South Coast towns with no change of coach. Over 40 top value direct brakes available only from ME Travel World Choice. You'll never want to change again. Phone for your priority brochure now.
Welcome back. Thousands of us fly to the Algarve in Portugal every year, sure of a warm welcome. But if you've a few days to spare, the country's capital, Lisbon, will perhaps give you a different and more accurate slant on the Portuguese way of life. Echoes of San Francisco, even Rio, but with its red roofs and 18th century buildings, Portugal's capital has a character all its own. Most of the city was destroyed by the earthquake of 1755, but a few medieval and Roman remains still exist around St. George's Castle. A peaceful place to spend an hour or two. The Elevador Santa Justa was built for the city by Gustav Eiffel of Eiffel Tower fame, a remarkable piece of Victorian technology, and not to be confused with the city's other elevadors, which are actually funiculars. Lots of the old town's streets are now pedestrianised and lined with stores and cafes. Their names remind you of the tradesmen who once worked here: saddle makers, cobblers, silversmiths. This is one of the busiest parts of the city and a great place to eat al fresco. Lisbon has several markets. Ribeira is the biggest in Portugal. Early in the morning is busiest, when wholesalers, bargain hunters and the pickiest of Lisbon's cooks are out in force to find best quality produce. The ancient residential quarter of the Alfama is the most picturesque part of the city, preserved and protected by law. Its maze of narrow alleys and stone steps is only explorable on foot. Characteristic of Lisbon are these tile-clad buildings. There's a museum devoted to tiles too, and the tradition is alive and well, with craftspeople still painstakingly painting tiles by hand. Sweet-toothed travellers usually home in on Portuguese coffee shops. They're all over the city, and they dispense traditional custard tarts, pastéis de nata, literally birthday cakes. For a couple of pounds worth of escudos, you can make the short trip along the coast to Estoril. The big attraction is, of course, the beach. Few cities have a beach resort so close to the city centre. You can enjoy the urban delights of Lisbon on a city break and catch a few rays as well. With Travel Scene, it's from £386 per person for 3 nights in a 3-star hotel, B&B, flying from London. With Eurobreak, from £342 per person for 3 nights in a 3-star hotel, B&B, flying from London. And with BA Holidays, from £343 for a similar package. For more information about holidays in Portugal, contact the Portuguese Tourist Office on 0171 494 1441. One of the most popular film reports we've ever had on Getaways was about a painting holiday in Cornwall. I think it's because there's an artist in all of us struggling to get out, including Linda Ward.
Cornwall must be one of the most painted counties in Britain. Whistler, Turner, Ben Nicholson, they've all been here. And guess who's about to join their exalted ranks? I've even brought my hat. Van Gogh, sunflowers and all. I've come to Talon Bay in East Cornwall to meet Laura Bell and her class of budding Bruegels. Laura runs painting courses, 5 days on the beautiful Cornish coast, learning the art of composition, form and colour. It's one of those quiet, unhurried, away-from-it-all holidays.
If you pass those round, please. If I could just ask you to hold them up and look at the world through this strange shape.
It really radically changes your perspective. Whether you're looking to improve your painting or you're starting from scratch, there's plenty to learn. And when the experts retire to perfect their art, it's time for the complete beginners to get some personal tuition.
Now, Linda, what I'd like you to do is just to have a look through the viewfinder now at the subject. You've chosen the tree as your subject. Try it on the horizontal as well. How would you describe it in art terms?
In art terms, well, it's quite dark, heavy.
Yes.
Brown.
Good.
Brown.
Brown, you sure? So just make a few marks with the graphite stick so to get the feel of it first of all.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're holding the pencil as though you were actually writing.
Yes.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't want to write, you want to draw. So you need to hold the pencil, rest it in your hand like that. Then you can make some nice broad sweeps and you can control the stick quite nicely. And you can also make some very strong, bold marks really easily. Do you see?
That's nice. One of the beauties of painting here is that you're never stuck for subjects. Take a short walk along the coastal path and you'll find all manner of things to paint. Polperro is one of the smallest and prettiest fishing villages in Cornwall. In fact, it's attracted artists from all over the world, partly because of the quality of the light. In fact, one of the 20th century's greatest figurative artists, Oskar Kokoschka, actually lived here. Polperro is famous for smuggling, and the best way to see the smugglers' coves is by boat. If you're lucky, you may even spot a basking shark. I'm assured they're totally harmless, unless, of course, you happen to be plankton. And of course, you can't leave the area without trying some of the locally caught lobster. Thank you. Marvellous. Finally, it's back to Talon Bay to review the day's work.
What colours did you use?
French ultra.
Rose,
You used
alizarin.
permanent rose?
No, just alizarin.
Well, I think the colours came out very well in the pictures. Yes, there was some good free use of strong colours. One of the things I like to see.
And what do you think about my one?
Well, considering it was your first attempt, you've done quite nicely there.
I got something for you.
Oh, wow.
Would you like that?
So, thank you. Oh, look, it's me. And there's my first tree.
Well, the painting holiday at Talon Bay costs from £275 per person, and it includes dinner, bed and breakfast and all tuition. Similar courses are offered by Dillington House near Ilminster in Somerset, where a week's tuition and full board accommodation costs from £290. And at Polgreen Farm near Newquay, a week's tuition and accommodation in a farmhouse with bed and breakfast starts from £224.
Now for this week's holiday bargains. Got your pen and pencil ready?
Countrywide holidays are 1 week walking holidays with special activities like a day out on mountain bikes or a lake excursion and farm visit at Borrowdale in the Lake District for £290 per adult, £167 for children in August. Pan Tours have a 7-night tour of St. Petersburg and Moscow, including flights, accommodation and overnight train between the cities for £585, departing 24th of August. And Cunard offer a 5-night gastronomy cruise on the QE2 to New York with celebrity chef Gary Rhodes, with 3 nights sightseeing in the Big Apple thrown in, and return flights to England for £1,280, departing 27th of August.
Since the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, Bulgaria has become even more accessible to tourists, and there's certainly a great deal more to go for than cheap wine, however good that may be.
One of Bulgaria's greatest assets is its mountains. They cover more than 2/3 of the landscape. Some of the best ski resorts, like Borovets, are just a couple of hours' drive from the capital, Sofia, and worlds apart from the hustle and bustle of urban life. The winter resorts are great for hiking in summer, and a lungful of clean mountain air is an ideal tonic for the most jaded of visitors. There are all sorts of organised tours to help you make the most of the countryside and Bulgarian hospitality. There are history trips, ornithology tours, even photo safaris. High in the Rila Mountains is this lovely monastery, the cradle of Christianity in Bulgaria. This is one of the most impressive monuments in the whole country. The Bulgarian equivalent